Ancient Egyptians wore eye makeup every single day. Men, women, farmers, generals, pharaohs. And not just on special occasions. Every single day. For centuries, historians thought this was vanity, or religion, or both. But in 2010, French scientists analyzed 52 ancient coal samples from Egyptian tombs, and what they found completely changed how we understand this civilization. The makeup they wore every day, the stuff made from crushed rocks and animal fat, was secretly killing bacteria at 240 times the normal rate of their immune system. They had accidentally invented the world's first antibiotic, and they called it makeup. To understand why this matters, you need to understand the world these people lived in. Ancient Egypt was built on the Nile. The river gave them food, trade, and civilization. But every year, without fail, it flooded. And when the Nile flooded, it didn't just bring water. It brought bacteria. Eye infections were rampant. Trachoma, a bacterial infection of the eye, was one of the leading causes of blindness in the ancient world. It still affects 1.9 million people today. Imagine how devastating it was 6,000 years ago with zero medicine. The desert sun didn't help either. Intense UV radiation, sand, dust. The Egyptian environment was essentially an assault on your eyes every single day. This is the world where coal was born. Nobody knows who did it first, but somewhere around 4000 BCE, someone picked up a dark, heavy rock near the banks of the Nile. It was Galena, lead sulfide, a naturally occurring mineral found in deposits near Aswan and along the Red Sea coast. They ground it into a fine black powder, mixed it with animal fat or plant oil to make a paste, and smeared it around their eyes. Why? Probably to reduce sun glare. The black paste absorbed light and reduced the blinding reflection off the desert sand, essentially the first pair of sunglasses. But then something strange happened. The people wearing this black paste were getting fewer eye infections than those who didn't. They didn't understand why, but they noticed it. And in a world where observation was survival, that was enough. Here is what the ancient Egyptians couldn't possibly have known. The galena in their coal, the lead sulfide, was doing something extraordinary at the cellular level. When lead ions came into contact with the skin cells around the eye, those cells did something remarkable. They released nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide is one of the most powerful signaling molecules in the human immune system. It acts as a messenger, telling bacteria-eating macrophage cells to mobilize immediately. It widens blood vessels so immune cells can move faster. It floods the area like a first responder alarm. The presence of lead ions caused a 240-fold increase in nitric oxide production. 240 times. Not 20% more, not double. 240 times the normal immune response. French researchers who published this in 2010 described it as a bona fide tsunami of molecules. They analyzed 52 samples of ancient coal and found that the lead salts could kill up to 95% of harmful bacteria around the eye. The Egyptians had stumbled into pharmaceutical chemistry 5,000 years before anyone knew what chemistry was. Once people noticed it worked, the practice exploded. Within a few generations, coal wasn't just a medicine, it became identity. The ancient Egyptians linked the distinctive almond-shaped eye to the eye of Horus, the god of protection and health. Wearing coal wasn't just smart, it was sacred. Wealthy Egyptians had coal containers made from gold, ivory, and semi-precious stones. Their application tools, slender sticks called coal sticks, were crafted from silver, bronze, and glass. But even the poorest farmer ground galena on a rough stone and used a wooden stick. Because in a world where your eyes were under constant biological attack, this wasn't fashion, it was protection. Men wore it, women wore it, children wore it. Even statues of gods were carved with coal-lined eyes, as if to say the divine beings themselves needed the same protection. But here is the part of the story that history books rarely mention. The same lead that was saving their eyes was also slowly destroying their bodies. Lead is a neurotoxin. It accumulates in bone and tissue. Long-term exposure causes brain damage, kidney failure, and shortened lifespan. There is no safe level of lead exposure.
Archaeological analysis of Egyptian mummies has found elevated lead levels in many skeletons. Scientists believe chronic low-level lead poisoning may have affected cognitive function, behavior, and contributed to early death across the population. The Egyptians couldn't see this. Lead poisoning is invisible and slow. A child wearing coal every day from birth, as was common, would accumulate lead for their entire life without ever knowing the connection. They had found something that worked, and the price was hidden inside the cure itself. It is perhaps the oldest story in medicine, a treatment that heals one thing while quietly damaging another. Coal never disappeared. It spread from Egypt across North Africa, through the Middle East, into South Asia and Central Asia. Different cultures adapted it. Different minerals were used, but the same basic practice, applying dark paste around the eyes, survived for 6,000 years. Today, it is still used in parts of Morocco, Pakistan, India, Ethiopia, and Sudan. The World Health Organization has issued warnings about lead content in some traditional coal products. The ancient formula is still out there, and modern researchers are now studying ancient coal compounds as inspiration for new antibacterial treatments. The same chemistry that Egyptians accidentally stumbled upon may help us fight antibiotic-resistant bacteria in the 21st century. Ancient Egyptians thought they were honoring their gods when they lined their eyes with black paste. They thought they were being beautiful, or protected from evil spirits, or worthy of the divine. What they were actually doing was fighting a microscopic war they couldn't see, against bacteria they had no name for, using chemistry they would never understand. And winning. 5,000 years before the word antibiotic existed. 5,000 years before anyone knew what bacteria was. Some things were never meant to be forgotten.